No Code, and today I'm with Andrew Daniels, an awesome guy from Flutterflow who does everything: live, breathe, work, talk Flutterflow, every one of those things. Andrew, good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so you know how we do it on a live show? I get to bring an expert, a Flutterflow expert, and we get to talk about everything Flutterflow. And today we want to talk about animation. Last week we talked about database, we've talked about a couple of things before now, but really want to talk about animation, how to create very simple, complex animation, widget, page animation, off-page animation, to give your app that feeling that you're a professional. So, we're no coders until we're not from such a very huge design background. So I
Yep.
think animation is just going to give you, give you that feel that you're doing something really right. So, Andrew, I really want to allow you to talk about animation here. Why should
Cool.
people get to use animation on their application? Precisely on their Flutter Flow animation, not any other type of animation, but only Flutter Flow animation.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's easy to use animations in Flutterflow. I think we went over this in a live stream for Flutterflow, but you can do on-page load animations, which are subtle things when you come onto a page, things like, inputs and things flying up or from the left and right, which we'll showcase here. And also you have action trigger animations as well. So you could, trigger a message on a button click or something. You could do things that are automatically on the page, but maybe they come in after a user does something, right? So we'll do actually I'll do a fun little animation. Maybe I've been
Okay.
wanting to do this type of animation that I haven't done yet, but it'd be cool.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So I think there's a part that I really want you to really want you to talk about is that page animation. So sometimes you get to see some application page going left, page going right, some going at top, scrolling,
Yep.
just sliding upwards, sliding downwards. A lot of people don't feel comfortable picking. They're pretty confused when they want to pick which of these transition do I like? Do I just leave it instant, the default? Or do I get
Yep.
to allow this guy go left, go right, go sideways, slide out, slide in? So if you can share your screen, I would like you to, talk about exactly what type of animation and what case. When should I
Perfect.
use slide left, slide right, those type of animation.
Yep. Let me grab a oh yeah, Substack. That's what I want. Cool. All right, I'll share my screen.
So meanwhile, while Andrew is trying to share his screen, if you have questions and comment, feel free to leave it in the chat, and we'll definitely do well to respond to it. Thank you. Okay, so we're here now.
Let me close out of all my other apps. Don't need my attention.
Okay, so we're good.
You hear me?
Yeah, sure, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Can you? I can't. I think I'm frozen on my side.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Um,
you're frozen. It started as soon as I shared my screen.
okay, this is not supposed to happen. So I think it's network-ish, but I can see your screen perfectly.
Okay, cool. Well, I can continue building. So
Okay, sure.
we'll I'll showcase some animations on this page. So this is a login page, right? And we've already added some animations here. It's on the left widget tree here. You can tell which elements are animated by this little play icon here. So we'll just go over here and we'll preview all. So we just have some subtle animations here.
Okay.
The idea behind animations is that you don't go too crazy, right?
Okay.
It can be jarring. It can be a little too much. It can be overwhelming for the users. So you want something that's simple. Um, you want something that eases in, ease out, not linear, right? We have this easing here. If we go to the sign in, come over here, right? You have this animation curve. So uh, if you do linear, it's pretty boring, right? It just sort of goes as it does, right, from 0 to 1. I always like an ease in, ease out. The bounce animation can be a little jarring as well. It
Yeah.
works for some use cases, like when a user clicks on a heart icon and it animates in, animates out, into a filled heart icon or something, which maybe we can go over here. But I like ease in, ease out. Um, and then you can easily preview it. And as you can see, these are all sort of same duration, anywhere from 400 milliseconds to 800 milliseconds. I I like something around 400 just because it's slow enough.
Yeah.
Works. It's not too fast. If it's 300 or 200, it's sometimes it's a little like it's almost instant. So something that can that users can tell it's happening, and then also setting delay. Right. So currently, I have this one bouncing in, this one coming
Uh-huh.
up, this sign in text coming up with a delay of 100, and then this other text here with a delay of 150. And then this entire thing, right, is animating in. So what we could do is we could stagger each of these elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all animations from this,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to delete them all. And we're going to instead animate each of these elements. So we have 5 elements here. Maybe we'll throw this button down there. No, that's fine. Cool. So we'll just come in here. We'll paste this animation. And again, we're going to hide before animating, which for a delayed element,
Animate.
this is what we
Yeah.
want. So if you don't do this hide before animation, it's going to stay on the screen, and then it's going to animate in 200 milliseconds later. So that's not what we want to do. We want it to hide before animating. And then I just copied and pasted all of these. I have a fade, right, which will go from 0 to 1 opacity.
Yeah.
I have a slide, which will be 60. It's going to come down. It's going to start 60 pixels lower than what it should. And then it's going to slide up to 0. And then I added a small tilt, a vertical tilt animation here, which is just going to give us like, well, we can't see it here, but it's just going to 3D animate in sort of like
Yeah.
this. So
And this is gonna be for a single element. So it seems in Flutterflow you're able to add multiple animations on the same element.
so you can add an on-page load animation on it. Yeah, you can add multiple animations. Yeah, correct. Yeah, these are different types of animations. You can add multiple of these. We have, I think, 8 animations.
Okay.
So you can't see because we're, yeah. I'll uh, I'll get a new one and I'll show you the 8 animations. So we'll come
Okay.
over here to this one, and then we have fade, slide, scale, rotate, shake, blur, saturate, and tilt. Um, the blur's cool. Shake's cool. Shake is not really an on-page load animation
Yeah.
typically. Um, I do rotate, scale, tilt, slide, and fade. Those are the ones I have for on-page loads, right? Tilt is just sort of it adds a little more dimension to your designs. Scale definitely works when it just comes up. Um, and then what we can do is instead of just adding these, we already have this predefined, right? I'm going to keep everything the same animation, the
Okay.
same fade, the same Y slide essentially, and the same tilt. And all I'm changing here is this delay. So on this one, I'll have 225. On this one, I'll have 200. On this guy, I'll have 225. And on this one, we'll do this. We'll do 250.
Oh, so this means the email is going to animate first, and then the password, and then the sign in button. So everything is going to animate one at a time.
One at
That's
a
it.
time.
Okay.
They're going to be slightly staggered. So, and we can change that. I guess we could change it here, right? So instead of um, doing a 25 millisecond transition, we'll do 50. So we could just come here, we'll do 300, yeah, 250, uh, we'll do 200 here,
Yeah,
do 150.
150.
I think this is 150, yeah. Okay, cool. So this one we'll do 50
Awesome.
and then 100. So again, we can preview that right here. And
Yeah, make
instead
sure.
of this whole section animating in, we're staggering them.
So, Andrew, how do you make sure, as a person who just want to build a very easy application, how do you make sure you don't overdo this? Because I mean, you could add so much of this and become really confusing
Totally.
to the user. How do you make sure you don't overdo this? What's the limit?
I would say the limit should be like scenarios should animate in together. So there's some really good principles out there by Disney, right? There's some good Medium articles on UX animation, right? How
Yeah,
to animate things correctly. Google does a very good job of outlining how to animate things, how to interact with things, how to make things transition well, where it's not jarring, right? So one of those things is animate like elements together. So having the animation all on this sign in form and just animating the whole form in is a little less jarring than animating one at a time. It's not bad, right? But it could get a little obtuse, right? You just want to make it simple. So having this on the whole form makes a lot more sense here. Same thing with like article details, which we can do within this application as well. This is an application I designed during one of our live streams, so we can just come in here and I'll edit this in mobile view now. And what I'll do is uh, this is like a post details
yeah,
for a social application, right? We're trying to rebuild Substack, more or less. So what I'll do here is, I think this column is my scrollable. Well, we'll make it unscrollable there. And then we will add a little bit of padding here for mobile. We'll also add a page, an app bar on mobile.
yeah,
Right. There you go. Okay. And then the idea is, if we go to storyboard here, we have this home page, right? And this homepage has an image and some user information, a post title, a description. And then once we click this, we will just go into this. So we'll go into this page right here, right? And so as we go into this, we want to do a few things.
yeah,
We want to animate this image, right? From this size to this size. And then we want to maybe like animate these up just like we did. Maybe we want to animate them from right to left actually instead of
yeah,
up. Right? We did them from the bottom. So let's go ahead and do that. First, for the hero animation, what we need to do is select the image here, come over here to the bottom. Oh, you can't see it on that screen actually.
yeah. I'm gonna.
Uh,
Don't worry. I'm sure they'll see it now. So,
yeah, there you go. There you go. So hero animation, we're just going to toggle that on. And what that's going to do is it's going to transition this image from the state on the homepage to the state, whatever the state is on the details
detail.
page.
Yeah,
It's just going to grow. It's going to be pretty cool. So we want to make sure it's cached, right? So it loads correctly. We're going to pass this document reference to that details page. So that image should stay cached. It shouldn't have to load or anything. We want to do that. And then we want to go to the details page, which we were on. And we want to also make this hero animation, right? So we want to toggle that on so
Yeah.
that it's triggered the same. We also want to make sure that image. Okay, cool. We're good. And then for this information, let's go ahead and animate. We're going to do fade. We can also stagger. So you can stagger animations on a single element, right? If you wanted it to fade first from 0 to 100 and then slide in, or grow or scale, right? You can do those things.
Yeah.
Um, I don't do them very often because I feel like making something smooth, it sort of goes back to that easing, right? That animation curve, making it easy to sort of go in makes sense, especially on like page load animations. Now, once we get into on trigger animations, right? Some of those things make sense, right? Sometimes you want a modal to come up and then grow in, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't really want something that just takes the user away from what you want them to come do on the page. You just want to do it very subtle and just leave them there so they're able to continue using your application. Yeah, I get that.
Yep. So we're gonna scale that or slide that. We'll do a little scale. I'm not making my scales that big, so I'm going to go like 0.8. So it's just going to go from 80% to 100%, right? I'm not going to go from 0 to 1. It's a little
Yeah,
drastic. You could probably even do 9 over here, and it would be just nice. So, and again, I'm going to try to just copy and paste this animation. So we're going to copy all animations, come over here, paste those. And then we're just going to have the same duration, and we're going to delay
increase the
it
text. Yeah,
just slightly, right? There you go. So that's going to animate in. That's good. Now we're separating the top content from the bottom content, which
yeah,
means we could animate that content differently if we wanted to, right? This image is supposed to grow in, so it's gonna grow in. We're gonna have the page title and username and relative time up here, sort of slide in. You could slide this stuff in, or you could slide it up. We will just slide it in from the right to keep a similar user experience. So
yeah.
let's do, and we'll do 150. Cool.
Android sim. Once you really understand what you want a particular element on the page to do, you can actually. I mean, the other elements just follow suit.
Yeah,
Because I'm seeing you doing a
exactly.
whole lot of just animating the post title, and then every other thing. It's very similar to the post title, just a different delay.
Yep. Just a different delay, right? And really, we should probably like group all of these. We don't necessarily need them all to animate in at once, in my opinion. Again, it's that, are we becoming too busy? So we have this row and this divider. So what we'll do is we'll do a small animation, we'll do a fade, and we're going to do the same duration. We'll do a delay of 250. And then our slide will be, we'll just do our slide 20. And we're going to do the same for this little guy. So paste that. We'll do hide before animating. We'll do 300. All right, so there you go.
Yeah, this is so beautiful.
Yeah, I think it'll be good too. So what we can do, the homepage in preview mode, this won't work. We'll have to run test mode, but I don't have any errors. So we should be able to run test mode so that we can see this image grow in. Because right now it's pretty static, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Here, I'll share this tab. So yeah, um, right now we see those animations. We don't see the hero animation though.
yeah.
So
The image is not animating.
yep. So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and do test mode, and we'll run that. It'll take about 2 minutes. So yeah, the keys to animation is keep them similar or at least a little similar. Keep them subtle, right? Should present your user with the ability that something's happening, right? Instead of going from
Mhm.
instant to instant, like, oh, content changed on the screen. Well, how can we make that transition,
Smooth.
smooth?
Yeah.
Which is very important, right? So, but if you make it too wild, then it alerts the user like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, or it's a
Yeah.
little too much. It can become too much on a cognitive load. You want to make things subtle. So really making things, yeah, similar in design, right, and development. Consistency is key, uh, and that's huge, right? If you can keep designs like this, there's nothing beautiful about this application, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's just nothing like crazy. There's nothing wild. It is a very simple application. The only reason why it looks close to good is because it's not cluttered, it's consistent, and there's proper hierarchy. Okay, there's balance on the screen. So we have a title up here. We have this little guy that we can click to post a new message.
Yeah.
We have a view here. This list view. There's proper sort of spacing here. It's all sort of similar. We have 12 pixels padding here. We have another, 4 pixels here, 8 pixels here, so 12 pixels between. Um, we have, you know, 12 pixels between here, probably something like that, and then 12 on the right. So consistency is key. Spacing and little things like that makes a world of difference. We don't have different sized icons here. We don't have wildly huge post titles here.
Yeah.
They're very subtle, right? This is a 20 pixel font, which is pretty large for a mobile device, but large enough that it makes sense, right? These are articles; they're not social posts, really, or like the idea was they're articles. So
Yeah, I see. I see. I get what you're saying. Consistency. That should be the order of the game whenever you design it. So I've seen some persons fix animation and they center it around a call to action. So it's some sort of an animation giving the user a cue that this is what you should do. This is what you should click. This is
yeah,
where to go from here. Can you just demonstrate that a bit?
yes, I can. First, we'll try to. I got test mode up and running, so
Okay, sure.
I'll uh, I'll try to do this. See if it works. First, we'll create a post. Really awesome.
This
I
person is a ghost user.
Yep. Wasn't able to create my account yet.
Yeah, gotcha.
We'll go ahead and add an image. Um, we'll add something that makes sense here. Right. We have that. We'll send that. We create a dope post. Here it is. Our hero animation isn't working.
Yeah, it
But
isn't
let's go
working.
ahead. I think go ahead and change this. We're in test mode. So one of the things we have is a instant transition. So let's go ahead and slide left. And let's go ahead and make that 240. All
Yeah,
right,
I
because
think
this
you're
was
sharing a different screen, right? You have to switch your screen. You're sharing a
yeah,
different screen now.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Um, so we had this transition from this social post to the next screen as instant.
Yeah.
Because this was mainly a web application. Now we're sort of transitioning to a mobile application. So I just made this transition slide left and gave it 240. So if we come back here and we instant reload, this may help. I hope it does. But typically,
So it's
yeah,
Drone
zero
mount.
animation doesn't work at all times, but it does at some point. So
Okay.
cool. We'll just wait here. Come down here. There you go. There it is. So you see
Yeah,
that
that's
image.
cool. So it's
Now that
shrinking. Yeah.
Hey, that is nice, right? It actually worked. It actually
Absolutely.
worked.
It's really beautiful. I love the way it shrinks a bit, and get the user, give put the user's attention on the title of the post and say, hey, this is how to come down. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really beautiful.
yeah. Now, see, we could readjust this screen. So let's go back here. Um, and we could adjust this screen. Let's go to home screen because this is like really large right now. So let's go ahead and make it like maybe 240,
Yeah.
230. Yeah. So what we'll do is when we go to this article details page, we'll move this up here and let's go ahead. I want it to sort of fill the area. So I'm going to wrap this column in another column. Okay. That's going to give us, come over here. We're going to have a padding column. So I'm just going to name that padding column. This doesn't have anything to do with the animation or the build, really, just like
Yeah.
how I build in Flutterflow, really. Um, but then I can move this image out here and it'll span the whole way. And then let's go ahead and make it like 450, right? Something like that. Um, and we can make it. Let's just leave it like that. Yeah, we'll remove these. Yeah, we'll remove that. We'll remove this. Cool. Now, if we come back, make sure we save. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'll share this screen instead. So instead of shrinking, now the image should grow and it should go up top,
Yes,
and then
that's good.
all of those things should come in. So, now that it's not bad, huh?
Not
Not
bad,
bad.
not bad at all. It's just subtle. It's really, really
So,
subtle. Doesn't disturb the eyes. You still don't have to pay so much attention to the image. The test is what you give attention to. It's really
yep,
beautiful.
yep. And with images that don't have a photo, we've removed that. So, but pretty cool. I'm not, and this is, man, to prototype this, and this is a thing I want to speak about, right? So
Yeah,
like in Figma, I've been a designer for 10 years. I've worked
that's
on countless prototypes, right? Where you try to imitate the finished product, right? In
yeah, it's good.
Figma or in Vision, and you try to do this animation and it's extremely hard to do. It's almost impossible to do, right? To have a dynamic list of images where you could do this type of animation. You could do it once maybe, right? You could game the system, you could design like 4 details pages and, 3 scroll views or whatever. But it's very hard to make it consistent. Like we can do this on any of these. We can do it from any area, right? I can do it from down here, and then the image sort of comes down, right? It's dynamic. This is incredibly hard to do prototyping. In
Yeah,
Flutterflow, we did this in a couple of seconds. I mean, a couple of minutes, really. So, using Flutterflow as a designer for prototyping is phenomenal. Like, just absolutely wonderful. I really like it.
yeah. That's something I like about Fireflow. That you don't really have to use Figma. It gives you the same feel as
Yep.
Figma. It has similar elements. It just gives you the same feel. And the good
Yep.
thing is that you're actually building the user interface. So you don't have to go first of all go to Figma, build everything on Figma, then come back to Fireflow and jump it. But you can literally do your wireframe. You can do your high fidelity prototype. You can do everything here, and it just makes a whole lot of sense, really. Yeah, it
Yep.
does.
Yep. So you brought up another area, right, that you wanted to see built out, right?
Yeah, that's some persons who want to animate, draw their users' attention to something via animation.
Okay.
Like maybe it might be
Cool.
a call to action, it might be a pricing, it might be, just anything. But I just want to draw my user attention and say, hey, click here. This is what I want you to click. So I think it's something that a lot of people want to do too.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm on this profile page. Let's pretend like we want to animate a call to action to sign up for Pro, right? Or to like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a Pro account. Let's do that.
that works.
So let's
So guys, while Andrew is showing us how to make complex and simple animations, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. You have questions with regards to animation. You think there's something that Andrew should touch up? Feel free to drop a question in the chat, and we'll definitely do well to answer you. So thanks guys for joining the stream today. Really do appreciate you. Thank you.
here, I'll do that, and then I'll do this, and we'll do 2 pixels, right? So what we'll do is maybe I think these are 20. Okay, we'll do 24. I'm gonna steal this row here, place it there. I'm gonna wrap this guy in a column, and we want there. We can remove this. Okay. Now to access row features. All right. So we have this column. We have it expanded. What in the world? There you go. Cool. Center that. We'll add a little bit of padding underneath here.
Yeah.
And then what we want to do is we want this, let's just say, we want to set up a staggered animation. We first want it to grow in, maybe, right? So let's come over here to animations. We'll add this. Instead of setting all animations to be the same, we'll just, actually, you know what? I think on animation, on action trigger. Okay, we need to do this on action trigger, but let me go ahead and first we'll have it fade in like we did. So we'll
Yeah.
fade. We'll apply all of this here. We'll do 400. We'll scale it instead of slide it. We'll do 0.6 or 0.8 and 0.8. Yeah. Okay. So we have this. It's going to just scale in like that. And then on action trigger, on the page load, right? We have these. We're going to set up an animation here, and we're going to loop it.
Yeah.
So we're going to do shake.
Oh no, I get you.
So we'll do shake, right? And we'll do scale. We're going to do, all right, we don't need that much. Again, we're going to do like 400 on the animation. And we're going to do 400 here. And do a 200 delay here. Initial 1, right? And then we're going to do initial 8 or final 8. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shake it, and as I'm shaking it, I'm going to
It's
shrink
gonna
it
grow. Okay.
and then expand it. Okay? So that's why we're basically setting this up as a timeline, but we're doing it in a weird way because we don't have a timeline. So we're doing it sort of linearly in the sidebar. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to scale again, right? And we're going to do, it's a 400, right? So it's going to delay 200, and then it's going to animate for 400. So we need 600 delay here. And we're going to do 400 animation. And then we're going to set the initial scale, which is what the final scale here was. Let's see what
Yeah.
that looks like. All right. So something like this. Whoop. It's going to shake.
I think you
Maybe
have
we
to loop it.
want this one to be over here, right? Want the shake to happen at the end.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
Something like this, right? Okay. And then we're going to set a Sorry, I'm trying to think.
No problem.
Okay. Let's go ahead and set this delay actually to 1200. No, 1600. Okay. The idea is we don't want it to shake constantly. We don't want it to, we want it to continually do this, but we don't want it to do it constantly, right? So we want it to shake like every 3 seconds, more or less. So let's do every, or it's going to delay 2 seconds.
It's
Shake.
2000. Yeah.
And yeah, 2000 milliseconds. And then we're going to do the same here, right? We're going to change this delay and we're going to change this delay. 8. Okay. And then on action, this is an action trigger, right? We're going to trigger this from some sort of action. You don't
Yeah.
have to make the user initiate this action. You can actually do it on page load. So this is the page. We have on action triggers here. So let's go ahead and action animate. Boom. We're going to choose an animation, container 1. And we're just going to start the animation and then loop the animation. Okay. We're going to see how that works. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be good. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Pasta.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's back to test mode. And this is the great thing about test mode, right? You can instantly,
Instantly reloaded.
hot reload it. We can see the changes.
Yeah, I mean that's a beautiful feature from Flutterflow. It saves you tons of hours. Back then you used to wait. You have to wait for like maybe 5-10 minutes for everything to load. But this time you can just fix your load your project 25 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes, and you can just keep as you make changes you can refresh, and it saves you a whole lot of time. I really love this feature.
Yeah. Well, it's working. It's not the design is a little weird. It's scaled down to 0.8, so I'm going to go back to my page load and sort of maybe just remove that because we have that like on page load sort of over here. Yeah, I'm just going to remove this because I don't think I want it. I'm going to just do that. I'm going to make sure initial final. Yeah. Okay, initial final. All right. Apply initial state. Let's do that. We're jumping to initial state as it is triggered. Okay. All right, we're gonna just save that. Go back to test mode. For some reason, it's starting in that 0.8% scaled version, which is really weird. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But we did accomplish what we wanted to, which is
Absolutely. Call users' attention to a CTA, and that really makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So maybe what we'll do is we'll scale it to 1. That's what we'll do on that action. We'll scale it to 1, which will be cool. So yeah, we'll just go back to on action triggers, and we'll do our scale. We'll do 0 delay on this, and 400. We'll do our 0.8 there. Cool. All right. So we should.
So you got to share your screen. I think you're sharing a different screen right
Yeah. It's okay. I don't think it's gonna work, but I was trying to add an initial scale.
now.
So
Okay.
an initial scale on action trigger that had a 0 delay. So it would just automatically on page load, scale in. What I can do is I could scale it to 1.2%, right? That would make sense. That's what I'll do, just for the sake of this.
This is really cool. I mean, you're not using a Lottie. You're not using. This is an in-app animation, and it's
Oh
so
yeah.
beautiful. You're not really using some sort of a very complex, animation from a third party, and this is just all inside Flutterflow,
Yep.
and it's really great.
Yeah.
And we have, so let's see what's gonna
Okay.
happen here.
I think this is going to work. I mean, it's going to work better than what it was. So that'll be cool. It won't be the exact width of the other containers, but We're going to scale in. It's going to wait 2 seconds and then do this little like animation. So
Yeah, shake, then go back again and shake. Yeah.
mhm. We have that initial one, so we may just have to live with that. But let's see. Again, just to make this, we'll put that. I'm going to copy this animation again, and then I'm going to remove it from here. We'll do it on page load, and we'll see. Yeah, okay, we'll check it. We'll see if it works like it should. But you don't have to do the scale thing. You could just do a shake, right? And it'd
Yeah.
probably be just as cool. You could do a little tilt as well, right? You could like make it tilt, which would also be pretty subtle. So awesome.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
really beautiful.
this is perfect. Come on.
This is really good. I feel like copying this and putting it in all my CTO project. I mean, it's just really
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to make this a template now, so you guys can all have it. So
Yeah, it's cool. So I know we have like 2 minutes to go here.
yep.
One more thing too that I wanted to share. So is that widget called Transform.
Oh yeah.
That widget called
Oh,
Transform. It's a very beautiful widget. Does a whole lot of beautiful stuff. I know a lot of people use it for cards. They use it for their payment cards. You
yep.
know, use it to skew your payment card, so it makes that very awesome transformation. So do you want to share your thoughts on that particular widget and how people can use it without abusing it? Because it's a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
does a
Totally. How to use it
to
without
abuse
abusing
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. That makes sense. It's a widget I haven't used that often actually. Um, for whatever reason, I haven't used it. I've been too busy building stuff that I haven't really had the time to actually use it. But yeah, use it subtly. Again, for major transitions. There would be a cool way. I'm gonna have to, I'll have to do a little Loom video on how you could utilize it in sort of a way that makes sense. But yeah, like
yeah.
the old Airbnb menu, that's a great example, right? Where you sort of transition something out and you utilize it to um, engage the user, right? That transform widget can engage the user in subtle UI ways. Um, for me, it doesn't add a whole lot of user experience. It's mainly, yeah, it's mainly like cool UI interactions essentially. So
Yeah,
we'll we could probably spend a whole live stream talking about the transform widget, but
yeah. I
yeah,
think I think one cool way to use that will be to you've seen like this fintech application, so you want to look at the back of the card. Be like, hey, click here to see the back of the card, and then it turns the container turns and show you a
yep,
different side. I think
yep.
that's a cool way.
We do have flippable card, which does that automatically. So we already have a widget that does that out of the box. So
So there's no need to use the transform widget,
no need to use
right?
the transform widget for that. But there's some really cool examples on the marketplace.
Yeah.
I think Flutterflow Tips has done a really nice job. They have some really cool transform where they basically like they move the content of the page out and they bring in a menu. Utilizing stacks. Again, it's like you can do almost anything. It's just what's gonna like bog down the page or what is gonna really like I don't know. There's best ways of working and then there's really cool ways of working. So which one are you gonna choose? It's always a balance because with that transform widget, you can do almost anything. So will you, or will you just sort of keep your design simple and structured and clean code, right? Because those can get pretty messy just because you have to utilize stacks. You have to utilize some components probably to make it possible on every screen, and then be able to sort of implement other components, right? Anyways, there's a lot of structure involved to make those things work and work well. So
Yeah, definitely. So, one last word, does animation have a way of slowing down your application, or does it just, leave it's safe, it's always safe to use application, or does it slow things down?
yeah, that's a great question. So on web apps, I've noticed that sometimes it can slow things down if you add a lot of animations. Um, I have some apps though that if you want to turn on my screen sharing again, I'll
Sure.
um, I'll show you, and I've showed this off um, in the live stream, but I essentially have an app here. It uses ChatGPT. It allows me to create a bunch of documents for anything with the power of ChatGPT, and I'm using animations here, and it doesn't really slow down anything. But little things like having this animate up. I had I went through a section where I animated these menu items, which looked really cool and worked really
Yeah.
well, but it bogged down the application in general. So I think with the improvements to Flutter Web, we're going to see a lot of things change and things are going to really improve. On a native device, I've never had problems with the animations I use in my applications, and I have about 5 apps on test flight right now that I can use on my phone. So I've tried to animate stuff and do some cool stuff. So yeah, on a native
Awesome.
device, I don't think it has much effect.
Yeah.
Um, on some web apps, it can be a little jotty. And then this is how you can utilize Lotties, right? You can utilize Lotties to add a little more interaction, right? Like this folder icon is just a Lottie, and I'm triggering it on hover using our mouse region, and it just jumps up. I scale that. Also, really cool idea for
Yeah.
web apps. So yeah, this was
That's really
great.
cool. Absolutely, absolutely. Andrew, thank you so much. It was really great having you on this live stream. I personally learned a lot about animation. I do animation before, but I'm pretty sure I'm going on with a backload of tricks now.
Yep.
Software tricks and how to make sure I use animation very well in my projects. And I'm super glad that I personally learned from it. And I'm sure folks on YouTube and folks on Twitter and any other social media that I'm going to post this on they're really going to understand how to use animation in their project, best way to implement animation on the web and mobile. And all thanks to you. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really
Yeah.
appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem at all. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, so guys, this is a wrap. It's a wrap. You guys can leave your question. I have Andrew's Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm on his Twitter DM, so I'm pretty sure you can leave your question. And if it's too much for me, I can, run it through him and see what's gonna happen. So, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate you. It's Friday, 2 p.m. WWAT. We do this every Friday. So you want to join me next Friday again? I'm going to talk about new tips, new tricks, Flutterflow tricks, tips on how you can build awesome application. 2 p.m. WAT. Don't forget to join. Put it in your calendar. I'm going to send you a reminder. Or if you want to join the mailing list, click on the link below this video. You're just going to join my mailing list, and I'll send you a reminder every time I go live on YouTube. Thank you, guys. Bye.
See ya.